No one expected this. Not the coaching staff. Not the front office. Not even the fans who've been burned one too many times by the promise of a franchise quarterback. But there he is, Shedeur Sanders, blowing up every assumption the Cleveland Browns ever had about their quarterback room. A fifth-round pick wasn't supposed to be doing this. Not against veterans. Not this fast. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. And certainly not with this kind of command, poise, and execution. Yet here we are. Shedeur didn't walk in like a rookie trying to find his place. He stepped onto that field like a man with a plan. Like someone who wasn't here to wait. He didn't care about depth charts or contracts. He came to compete, and he's done more than just compete. He's dismantled every expectation. Every snap he takes in first-team reps feels like a shift in power. One perfectly timed throw after another. One adjustment at the line that completely neutralizes a blitz. One audible that breaks the defense. He's not guessing out there. He's dictating. And that's what's terrifying. It's not just that he looks good. It's that he looks prepared. That he looks in control. And when a rookie controls a huddle the way a 10-year veteran does, the entire room takes notice. Veterans don't hand out respect freely, but Shedeur's earned it the hard way. By showing up, staying late, and delivering when it matters. His presence is more than just confidence, it's command. During red zone drills, he moves defenders with his eyes, pulls linebackers out of position with subtle pump fakes, and drops passes exactly where they need to be, like he's playing just 5 moves ahead. He's not reacting, he's orchestrating. And when he messes up, he owns it. Quickly, quietly, then fixes it. There was one practice where he missed a timing throw. No yelling, no blame. He ran it again. This time, threaded it between 2 defenders for a touchdown. The defense nodded. The sideline clapped. And the offensive coordinator turned and muttered to an assistant, "This kid doesn't blink." What's more, he's shifting the entire tone of camp. You can feel it in the locker room. The music's louder. The energy is higher. Players are more focused. It's not because the coaches are yelling more or that the pads came on. It's because the offense has found someone they trust. When Shedeur's in the huddle, guys lean in. When he breaks the huddle, they move with purpose. That's leadership, and it's contagious. There's always talk about intangibles when it comes to quarterbacks. You can't measure presence. You can't quantify leadership. But everyone in Berea feels it right now. Shedeur's not just checking boxes. He's redefining what's in the box. The most telling moment so far, it wasn't a touchdown or a big throw. It was during a scrimmage when a blitz broke through clean. Most rookies panic. Instead, Sanders calmly sidestepped the pressure, kept his eyes downfield, and found his check down, turning what should have been a sack into an 8-yard gain. The sideline exploded. Not because it was flashy, but because it was mature. It was smart. It was exactly what a starting quarterback is supposed to do. And that's the part that's becoming impossible to ignore. No one expected a 5th-round pick to walk in and outperform not one, but 2 veteran quarterbacks. But Shedeur's not here to meet expectations. He's here to blow through them. And he's forcing the Browns into a corner. Because at some point, it won't matter how much money you're paying the guy in front of him. If one player is clearly better, everyone sees it, especially the team. And once the locker room believes in a guy, it's over. You can't go back. You can't unsee a leader emerge. You can't ask men to follow someone else when the answer is already in the room. That's the pressure building behind closed doors. And here's a new wrinkle no one's talking about. Shedeur's game has levels we haven't even seen yet. Right now, he's running the offense the way it's scripted. But what happens when they start installing RPOs? When they let him go tempo? When they build game plans around his strengths, instead of him just running theirs? Because this isn't just about arm talent. It's about processing speed. It's about how fast he sees the field and how quickly he adapts. That's what separates the good from the great in the NFL. And based on the way he's moving through his reads, that ceiling looks sky high. Some players win with athleticism. Some win with brains. Shedeur, he's got both. and it's scaring defensive coaches. Word inside the building is that the defensive staff has already had to adjust their coverages in practice. Why? Because Sanders figured them out too fast. He was calling out blitzes before they even happened, IDing coverages pre-snap, forcing the defense to break tendencies just to try and catch him off guard. That's not supposed to happen with rookies. And yet, he's doing it. You know what's even crazier? He's doing all this without playing a real NFL snap. No preseason reps, no full-speed Sunday chaos. But somehow, he's already making the team around him better. That's the mark of a franchise quarterback. Not someone who needs to be carried, but someone who does the carrying. And while the front office tries to hold the line, keep things calm, maintain the development plan, the tide is turning. Quietly, powerfully, and in a way they won't be able to stop. Because you can't keep the better player off the field forever. Especially when he's the one your players believe in. Especially when he's the one the fans are rallying around. Especially when he's the one making your offense look alive again. The truth? This isn't just Shedeur's moment. This is his movement. Every play he makes is a case for change. Every huddle he commands is a vote of confidence. And every practice rep he nails is another nail in the coffin of the old plan. So what now? Do the Browns cling to the past? Or do they lean into the future that's already unfolding in front of them? Because make no mistake, the quarterback battle isn't theoretical anymore. It's happening. It's real. And if the trend continues, the pressure to start Shedeur will become overwhelming. Not because he's flashy. Not because of the name on the back of the jersey. But because he's earned it. With his poise. With his preparation. With his precision, with the way he's quietly, methodically, and relentlessly taken over a team that wasn't supposed to be his. Until now. And the most stunning part? He makes it look easy. The tension at Brown's training camp has now shifted from mere quarterback speculation to a full-blown internal storm. One the front office can no longer contain. Every time Shedeur Sanders drops back in practice, there's a quiet ripple across the sidelines. Not because people are wondering what he'll do, but because they already know the expectation has changed. No more rookie moments. No more development window. It's become abundantly clear. Shedeur is not playing like someone earning a roster spot. He's playing like someone claiming a franchise. Defensive players are starting to test him in ways that border on desperate. Late blitz disguises, rotating safeties, shifting pre-snap coverages. All the tricks they typically save for Sundays. And yet, Sanders has remained unfazed. In one particular sequence that sent shockwaves to the locker room, the defense rotated from a too-high shell into a robber concept designed to bait young quarterbacks into misreads. Shedeur calmly ID'd the switch, held a linebacker with a subtle shoulder feint, and delivered a dime down the seam, threading the ball between three defenders. Touchdown. That wasn't just a good play. It was a quarterback making veteran decisions against a top-tier NFL defense. In training camp, as a rookie, some of the team's assistant coaches, guys who've been around for decades, are now whispering the unthinkable. Shedeur isn't just ahead of schedule. He's ahead of the position. It's not about raw talent. It's about comprehension, precision, speed of processing, and above all, leadership. You watch Shedeur work, and it's different. He's in the film room early, before the lights are even on. During special teams drills, he's off to the side with receivers, walking through timing routes in the grass. At lunch, he's with linemen, breaking down protection calls. It's not just performance, it's ownership. It's a quarterback taking full responsibility for the offense, top to bottom. And the Browns? They've never really had that. For years, this franchise has cycled through quarterbacks like names on a whiteboard. Talented guys, gritty guys, high draft picks, free agents. None of them could turn potential into permanence. And now, out of nowhere, this fifth rounder is showing signs of something rare. Sustainable greatness. Not just flashy camp highlights, but system mastery. Not just arm talent, but locker room command. It's rattling the power structure. Deshaun Watson, still technically QB1, has been inconsistent. Some days he's sharp. Other days, the offense sputters. It's the unpredictability that worries coaches. They can't quite count on what version of Watson is going to show up. Meanwhile, Sanders is stacking practices like clockwork, crisply run drives, accurate reads, consistent progressions. Even the reps he loses, he wins in the film room. After a recent session where he missed a hot read on a disguised corner blitz, Shedeur was the first one in the facility the next morning. He watched the play a dozen times, noted the defensive alignment, and by the next walkthrough he had a fix for it. Communicated clearly to the line and receivers without any coaching input. The offensive coordinator just watched, smiled, and wrote QB-led correction in his notes. That's not normal rookie behavior. But here's the hard truth. The longer this continues, the more dangerous it becomes politically. Because if Shedeur keeps outperforming every quarterback on the roster, the coaching staff will be forced to make a choice they never wanted to face. Do they stay loyal to salary and reputation, or do they choose the player who's clearly, obviously ready? The front office, already under scrutiny for recent draft decisions and big money contracts, is reportedly in damage control mode. Meetings that used to revolve around offensive installs now veer into quarterback scenario management. How to handle a media firestorm if Shedeur starts. How to soften the optics of benching a $230 million quarterback. How to spin the narrative from rookie gamble to future-forward decision. Even ownership is beginning to ask pointed questions. Fans, meanwhile, have made up their minds. They've seen the clips. They've read the beat reports. They're watching the growing confidence of the offense whenever Sanders takes a field. Social media has crowned him already. And while that might not make game day decisions, it absolutely shapes the public pressure cooker that Stefanski and his staff now find themselves in. Every rep Sanders takes is a headline. Every mistake Watson makes is amplified. And somewhere in the middle of all this noise stands Shedeur, calm, composed, almost eerily quiet. He's not campaigning. He's not politicking. He's just doing the work. And that's what makes this situation so volatile. Because the minute Shedeur finally starts a preseason game and lights it up, the genie's out of the bottle. There's no walking it back. No easing into it. The Browns will have to choose the quarterback they paid for or the one who's earning it in real time. Here's the added wrinkle. Players are now beginning to speak out more candidly. One unnamed veteran reportedly told a sideline reporter, "We win games with 14 under center. I've seen enough." That's the kind of sentiment that doesn't fade. It grows. It spreads. Especially in a locker room starving for a leader who makes them believe. And the receivers? They're already adjusting their timing to Sanders. And Njoku has mentioned in passing that Shedeur throws guys open in rhythm. Elijah Moore posted a photo with Sanders after practice with the caption, "Locked in." These are subtle signs, but in the NFL they matter. They show allegiance, chemistry, trust. Even off the field, Sanders is winning. He's avoiding controversy. He's keeping his head down. He's becoming, dare we say it, the adult in the quarterback room. That's not a knock on the others. It's just reality. And in this league, reality wins. So where does this go? In all likelihood, the Browns will try to delay the inevitable. They'll probably name Watson the starter for week 1. They'll emphasize experience and continuity. But the leash? It'll be short. Because behind him, pacing like a lion before the hunt, is a rookie who no longer feels like a rookie. The fans know it. The players know it. The coaches know it. The only people who haven't fully acknowledged it yet are the ones in charge. But they will, sooner or later. Because this isn't just a training camp story anymore. It's the beginning of something bigger. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not knocking on the door anymore. He's standing in the living room, holding the keys. The internal conversations in the Cleveland Browns facility have evolved from whispers to strategy sessions. It's no longer about if Shedeur Sanders can start. It's now about how soon, how publicly, and how carefully the Browns can handle the reins without detonating everything they spent years and millions building. In a recent closed-door quarterback room meeting, something shifted. What was once a clear pecking order, with Deshaun Watson at the top and Sanders seen as a developmental piece, has now become a battlefield of performance metrics, attitude evaluations, and locker room sentiment. Coaches are pulling up tape, not to critique the rookie, but to dissect how he's diagnosing complex NFL defenses with such unnatural ease. He's becoming the standard, not the outlier. That shouldn't be happening with a fifth-round pick, but it is. And the rest of the team is starting to feel it. Practices are no longer standard drills. They're auditions. Every snap Sanders takes is electric, not just an outcome, but an energy. You can sense it from the sideline. The offensive line's cadence is sharper. The tempo in the huddle is brisker. Even the coaches' voices rise just slightly when he's under center, as if they're subconsciously elevating their own intensity to match his. This isn't media hype. It's cultural shift. When Sanders is on the field, players hustle harder. When he speaks, the huddle leans in. And when he throws, especially those back shoulder sideline lasers, you hear the oohs and wows from both offensive and defensive players alike. During a red zone situational drill, Shedeur faced down a defense that sent 6 rushers off a disguised double twist stunt. He barely blinked. With a flick of the wrist, he released the ball half a beat before his tight end even turned his head. The result? Touchdown. The kind of play you'd expect from a seasoned starter. The kind of anticipation that doesn't come from instinct alone. It comes from relentless study, mastery of timing, and a deep understanding of his personnel. But here's the real turning point. He's not just producing highlights. He's solving problems. The Browns' coaching staff has started introducing wrinkles into practice designed specifically to confuse him. Rotating linebackers post-snap, delayed corners blitzes, shifted coverage responsibilities. Every time they throw a curveball, he adjusts, not just physically, but mentally. He's redirecting protections, rerouting receivers, altering cadence to bait movement. That's not normal. That's not even just rookie ahead of schedule talk. That's quarterback 1A behavior in the NFL. What makes all this more complicated is that the veteran quarterbacks aren't necessarily failing. They're just not transcending. Watson has his moments of brilliance, but follows them with inexplicable lapses in timing. Gabriel is still learning. Flacco, while solid, lacks the velocity and movement skills required in today's evolving NFL offenses. And so, in stark contrast, Shedeur Sanders rises. The front office is increasingly boxed in. The politics of the NFL, contracts, cap hits, public image, have always created inertia. You can't just bench a $230 million quarterback without consequence. But what if the consequence of keeping him in is greater? What if the team loses faith? What if the offense stagnates? What if fans start booing after every missed third down throw because they know someone better is standing on the sideline? It's a pressure cooker. And Sanders? He's the flame beneath it, calmly turning up the heat without saying a word. One of the more telling moments came after a practice scrimmage. Sanders, having just led a 70-yard touchdown drive, was walking off the field when a reporter asked him how it felt to outplay the starters. His response? "I'm just here to make us better. Doesn't matter who gets the credit." That's not a canned quote. That's culture-setting leadership. It's moments like that which make veterans take notice. It's why offensive coordinator meetings are now reportedly starting with what Shedeur did well, not just as a point of interest, but as a benchmark. When your fifth-round rookie is setting the tone for every other quarterback in the room, that's not just unusual, it's paradigm-breaking. The fans are catching on quickly. At open practices, Sanders now receives louder ovations than the supposed franchise quarterback. Jerseys with his name are beginning to rival Watson's in the crowd. Chants break out during drills. Kids are showing up wearing Colorado hats, asking for autographs. This isn't just hope anymore. It's faith, earned, not inherited. Meanwhile, inside the building, there's a quiet race against time. Coaches and execs are scrambling to rework narratives. Just in case. How do you spin starting a rookie without undermining your veteran leader? How do you protect Shedeur from the fallout of being thrust into the spotlight too soon? How do you acknowledge his greatness without igniting a quarterback controversy? Simple. You let the tape speak. And the tape is screaming. One clip from practice. Shedeur executing a perfect RPO, drawing a linebacker, and flipping a no-look pass to the slot receiver for 15 yards, has now become mandatory film room study for the rest of the offense. Coaches are using it as an example of how to manipulate leverage with your eyes. That's not a rookie learning. That a rookie teaching. There's another layer to this. 2. Shedeur's quiet, steady demeanor is starting to infect the team. The offense, once jittery and erratic, is calming. They're beginning to trust the system again because they trust the guy running it. Even the running backs are noticing. One veteran back commented, "It feels like there's a plan again. We're not freelancing anymore." That's quarterback gravity. And what makes it all the more surreal is that Shedeur is doing it with such restraint. He's not giving epic speeches. He's not launching marketing campaigns. He's just stacking practices, one perfect throw at a time. Behind closed doors, the Browns brass are reportedly discussing how to break the news when he starts. Do they announce it early and give him preseason runway? Or do they hold it until after preseason to avoid unnecessary media cycles? They know it's coming. The players know it's coming. The fans are screaming for it. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about hype. It's about production. It's about the quarterback who makes the team move faster, play cleaner, and believe harder. Shedeur Sanders hasn't just arrived. He's taken over the Browns by force of will and flawless execution. And the only real question now, not whether he's ready for week 1, but whether the Browns are. Because Shedeur doesn't need permission. He's already taken the job. Now it's just a matter of when they admit it.